Hello and welcome to this short video from Tarot 21. I'm Debbie at Tarot 21, and today's short video is all about intuition. I think intuition plays a huge part in our tarot readings. And yes, you know, when we first learn tarot, we learn the generic meanings of the cards. We need to start somewhere, and that's really useful. But as we become more experienced, it's really important to be able to give a depth to your reading, to give, you know, more precise meanings, if you like, to give your client the best possible reading. We need to tap into our intuition. So intuition can be described as those times when we don't know why we know something, we just do. You know, we don't know where it comes from, but it just feels right. We have that gut instinct, if you like, and it's just telling us, yes, this is what we should be doing. We just know. It's just a feeling. So let me give you some examples. Now, personally, I like to think I get on with most people. You know, I get on well with everybody, but I don't know if, you know, I like most people I meet, but I don't know if you've ever had this situation where you've met somebody for the very first time, you know nothing about them, you've not even spoken to them, and or something, all the hairs stand up on the back of your neck. There's something that's saying to you, yeah, nah, don't get too close to this one. Or maybe you are really looking forward to a Sunday lunch and you've been invited round to some really good friends, and you turn up, you've got your bottle of wine, your bunch of flowers, you're really looking forward to tucking into that roast beef. And you turn up, you ring on the bell, and they answer, and yeah, hello, good to see you. But my goodness, you could cut that atmosphere with a knife, and you just think, oops, they've had a blazing row just before you've arrived. Now, that's your intuition. That's your intuition talking to you. You know, we all have intuition. We are born with it. You know, children are very intuitive. It's just that over time, intuition is replaced with education. Intuition is replaced with logic, with reasoning. And, you know, for many of us, our intuition is slowly eroded away, and we become more reliant on our logical, analytical thinking, which is a shame because both have a part to play in our lives. They serve different purposes, but as we get older, we replace our intuition with logic and analysis rather than learning to work alongside with it. Intuition plays a huge part in, well, I believe in the role of tarot reading. It is really helping us. It's all about tuning into a feeling that you get from a card and the energy that comes from it. And when you can do this, it gives you greater insight to what that card is trying to tell you at that precise moment. As I say, when we first learn tarot, we learn the generic meanings, but as we become more experienced and as our readings expand, we realize that one card can't possibly have just one meaning. In each card, there is so much ancient wisdom, there's so much symbology, and it's these symbology that are universal, and they speak to our subconscious mind. When these universal symbols and this wisdom, you know, connects with our subconscious mind, we get a feeling, we get an emotional response. And when we think also with the tarot cards, the associations it has with things like astrology, numerology, the Kabbalah, the elements, if we had to learn all of that before we could read the cards, it would be an awful lot to remember. Just be impossible. But if we can learn to trust our intuition, it's so much easier. You know, intuition arises out of our subconscious, and what the subconscious is able to do, it's able to bypass that part of our brain that's logical, you know, where our ego sits. The logical mind and the ego are really good at talking us out of believing in our intuition. So we need something to bypass that side of our brain and to get in touch with our intuition. And the tarot cards are brilliant because they distract your logical mind with a story, with pictures. And while your logical mind is out of the way, your subconscious and your intuition become engaged. And you start to get feelings about the cards. You know, sometimes if you turn over a card and it's I think of the Six of Cups. You know, we know that's, you know, going back to our childhood maybe, but it's a castle, isn't it? Those people that are standing inside a castle. Now, sometimes when you turn over that card, you might get that feeling. When you think about a castle, you might think, oh, they were built to protect people. You know, they kept people safe. Or you know, your intuition might be telling you about castle. Oh, no, they're dangerous places. They kept people in, they restricted people's freedom. You know, so that castle, that image of that castle could have two very different meanings, and it would be your intuition that will be telling you which one to go with. You know, let's say you were doing a reading, you turned over the Ten of Wands. Now, you probably would have learned that generically, you know, one of the generic meanings for this is about carrying a heavy burden, or that you're tired, or maybe be careful what you wish for. But when you turn over the card in one instance, maybe your instinct or your feeling has given you something very different to the meaning, the generic meaning that you've learned. You may have a feeling that maybe, yes, your struggles are coming to an end. You know, yes, all right, you've been carrying this burden, but you know what, it's all coming to an end. You're going to be able to put those sticks down. You know, it sort of explains, it's really listening for a feeling. That's the only way I can describe it. Listen for a feeling and go with what feels right for you. You know, maybe you're sitting there with a client or even doing a reading for yourself, and explain how that card is making you feel. What emotions are you feeling? You know, and if your logical mind at any time starts kicking in and say, no, that's not what you've learned about what this card means. You need to sort of find a way to quieten it down, tell it to go away, and, you know, ignore it the best you can and go with your feelings. The Nine of Swords, if we take that card, that's often seen as the darkest hour. You know, it's all doom and gloom. But if you look at it for a moment, you know, how's that card actually making you feel? Are you feeling scared, anxious, worried? Maybe you feel strong, powerful, whatever. You know, all these emotions are quite possible with the Nine of Swords. And there's loads more too. So it's really key to turn into your feelings. What are you picking up in this card? And what's the energy that you're feeling when you're reading this card? That can give you far more greater insight into what the card is trying to tell you at that precise moment. Now, to tap into your intuition, if you're thinking, well, that's all well and good, but I don't use my intuition, or I don't find it easy to use my intuition, what can you do? Well, the first thing is you want to sort of quieten the mind. Now, we're thinking machines, we think all the time, but we can quieten our mind if we want. And quite simply, we just need to sit and take a few deep breaths. When we take some nice deep breaths from our belly, we're changing the chemical reaction in our body to feel calmer, to feel quieter. You know, make sure you're sitting there and you haven't got your arms and legs crossed, because you don't want to block the energy. You want the energy to flow freely through you. So you just sit there, clear your mind by, you know, quieten your mind by just breathing deeply, making sure your arms and legs are not crossed. Set an intention to let go of your day. Whatever has been going on for you, that's outside the door. You know, you just don't want to go there right now. And it's really important to be grounded. You know, we cannot hear or feel our intuition when we are upset or angry or emotional anyway. So it's really important to be grounded, to feel quiet, to just breathe and just let the day go. You know, some people like to meditate. I like to go for a walk in nature. Find whatever it is that you can do, that you enjoy, that allows your mind just to go quiet. And just get in touch with that feeling of quietness and peacefulness, and allow your intuition to bubble up and allow it to speak to you. I'd be really interested to know, when you're reading the cards, what's your intuition saying to you? I hope you found that useful. And I will be putting up some more little short videos, little snippets of tarot wisdom, etc. Anything, you know, to help you with your tarot reading, because tarot is just such a magical tool that we can all use. So I'll be sharing more tips and tarot wisdom soon. But thank you for listening.